What did I tell you? What did I say to you? I said, buy the road map and leave. What the f am I supposed to do, Seth? Recognize you.
George Clooney from TV's ER and Quentin Tarantino play a couple of murderous thieves who are in for the fight of their lives down Mexico way in From Dusk Till Dawn, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with the box office sensation 12 Monkeys starring Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt, plus new films with Sandra Bullock and Sally Field. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is From Dusk Till Dawn, although maybe I should call it our first 2 movies because it starts out as a road picture about 2 escaping bank robbers who take hostages, and then halfway through it shifts gears and turns into a vampire movie. That's typical of the style of Quentin Tarantino, who wrote this film and likes to hop between genres. The high energy in the film is typical of its director, I think, Robert Rodriguez, who broke into the movies a few years ago with a low-budget hit named El Mariachi. As this new movie opens, 2 criminal brothers have just held up a highway liquor store and killed a Texas Ranger. Now the clerk has opened fire on them. The brothers are played by ER's George Clooney, who is relatively sane, and Quentin Tarantino, who is a mad dog killer. Trying to escape across the Mexican border, they take hostages. A former preacher, played by Harvey Keitel, and his children, played by Juliette Lewis and Ernest Liu.
I'm going to go on record right now as saying that this is a very bad idea.
Duly noted. Now shut up.
How many with you?
They're going to search the van.
As long as you don't act like a nut, we're going to be just fine.
They end up in a scummy bar where almost everyone is actually secretly a vampire, and there's a lot of gory action. But Tarantino likes to work theological discussions into his portraits of violent lowlifes, so here the killer, played by Clooney, gets serious with the former minister.
Because I know that whatever is out there trying to get in is pure evil straight from hell. And if there is a hell, and those sons are from it, then there has got to be a heaven, Jacob. There's got to be. So which are you? Are you a faithless preacher? Or are you a mean servant of God?
The movie borrows from everywhere, including George Romero's Ghoul movies, where all it takes is one bite and you're a monster too. Keitel knows his time is limited before he becomes a vampire.
Now, since you need me, I think you better swear. Kate, do you swear to God that when I become one of the undead, you'll kill me?
You know, there are a few things in this movie that are really excellent, and one of them is the pre-title sequence involving a Texas Ranger played by Michael Parks. His dialogue is so well written, so well acted, and so funny that as he describes his backwater community, we can almost picture it. In fact, I almost wanted the movie to be about what he was talking about.
Me too.
And there are other moments like that in the movie. Tarantino can write dialogue, and Rodriguez can make films that move fast and take no hostages. The last half hour is essentially one long, violent fight scene punctuated by dialogue, and the special effects are well done. From Dusk Till Dawn delivers and it entertains, so I'm giving it thumbs up, but I know these guys have better pictures than this one in them.
And I'm giving it thumbs down, and I saw a picture, essentially the same picture as 2 different films, and I like the first one better.
Yeah.
To take these interesting characters, the brothers, the Ranger, and he's the most interesting, and then Keitel, who I couldn't even spot in the beginning under his makeup. I mean, I thought he was sensational. To take all these people and then to run them through a vampire trash picture, and it really, Roger, there's nothing really original there.
No, I didn't say there was.
I know,
no.
not at all.
No, all the originality takes place before they get to the bar.
So, I mean, I'm sitting there and saying, all right, I'm invested, I'm laughing at some of this stuff, as violent as it is, and it is hyper-violent. I just felt that, you know, they didn't try in the second half of the picture, and it really is not just a half an hour. I'm giving it thumbs down.
It was a basic structural error.
Absolutely.
I'm giving it a marginal thumbs up because I think it does deliver, as I said, but you're right. They had a good picture going, and they lost it.
Really lost it. Okay, next movie. And here's a real letdown. Eye for an Eye with Sally Field in sort of a female death wish. Remember in that one how an architect played by Charles Bronson went on a rampage after his daughter was raped and murdered in the opening scenes? Well, this time it's media expert Sally Field whose daughter is raped and murdered at the beginning of Eye for an Eye, and she's really freaked out when the killer, Kiefer Sutherland, is caught but gets off on a technicality.
What are we going to do now?
How could you let this happen? You're just going to let him walk right out of here? Sorry.
Go.
No, Mr. McCann! Mr. McCann, please!
Her husband is played by Ed Harris, and here's proof that this movie is more interested in scenes showing Sally with a gun than with the issue of crime and punishment. Here's the extent of their discussion about the death penalty.
Do you believe in the death penalty?
As far as that guy's concerned, I do.
Why? Because it's just, or you want revenge?
I don't know. It's just the way I feel. I don't know what I think.
Yep, that's it. And then on to the next scene, which has Field seeking out the help of two guys who facilitate frontier justice by training people to do their own vengeful killing.
I can't rest. I'll never ever rest again till he pays for what he did to her.
This whole movie is just about Sally wanting to kill and about us watching her get the chance. But what I want to say most to people who are considering seeing Eye for an Eye is see another much, much better movie about the death penalty instead. It just opened. It's called Dead Man Walking, and it stars Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn and offers far better criticism of Eye for an Eye than I ever could.
Boy, I'm with you all the way on this one, Gene. You know, if I were teaching a high school class and trying to help young students learn to be able to evaluate movies on their own, I would show those two movies and ask them to compare them. Because Eye for an Eye is shameful in its manipulation. It made me feel unclean in the way that it was basically insulting my intelligence by leading me to this conclusion where I'm supposed to cheer Sally Field's action. And then at the end of the film, they cop out. She doesn't really do what she's set up to do during the entire movie. There's a little plot twist, so she doesn't really have to take the full responsibility. So that's dishonest, too.
Of course.
And on the other hand, Dead Man Walking is right down the line in terms of really trying to be intelligent and fair about this
Just
issue.
as a note on Eye for an Eye, there's another person involved in the project, John Schlesinger, who made the great Midnight Cowboy and Sunday Bloody Sunday, and he's fallen, I'm afraid, with this picture. Okay, when we come back, the time travel saga 12 Monkeys, starring Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt.
I'm not crazy.
Of course not. Of course not. You want to escape, right? That's very sane. That's very...
I appreciate your volunteering. You're a very good observer, Cole.
Thank you.
We have a very advanced program, something very different.
An opportunity to reduce your sentence considerably.
And possibly play an important role in returning the human race to the surface of the earth.
Bruce Willis plays a prisoner in a future world where human life has almost been wiped out by a plague, and he is urged, in fact almost ordered, to volunteer for a journey in time to discover the origins of the deadly virus. That's the setup for Terry Gilliam's 12 Monkeys, which is a complex and challenging science fiction fantasy with some good acting and some unexpectedly poignant elements. Traveling back to 1990, the confused and disoriented Willis tries to tell people he's from the future, but all that does is get him hooked up with a psychiatrist played by Madeline Stowe. He meets her again on a trip to 1996.
12 months. Wait, here. Here, do you see it? You see?
I see some red paint, some marks.
Mark, you think that...
Oh, this is red.
Hey! Don't you do anything crazy.
In several trips to the past, Willis runs into a weird mental patient played by Brad Pitt, who seems to have important things to say if only he could say them.
These teeny tiny invisible bad things called germs, they get into your body and make you sick, huh? He's trying to get doctors to wash their hands. What is this guy? Crazy? Huh? Teeny tiny invisible, what do you call them? Germs, huh? What?
The key to the Willis character is his own disorientation as he's jerked around in time. Finally, in an ironic development, he doesn't believe he's a time traveler, but the psychiatrist does.
You had a bullet from World War I in your leg, James. How did it get there?
I don't know. Look, you said that I had delusions, that I created this world. You said you could explain everything.
I can't. I'm trying to.
Anyone who has seen Terry Gilliam's 1985 film Brazil will recognize some of the elements of 12 Monkeys, especially the totalitarian future bureaucracy and the enormous sets which all seem rusty and shabby and leaking. The future in his movies always needs a coat of paint. But while Brazil often played like sensational scenes in search of a plot, 12 Monkeys is really about something, about the search for the origins of the deadly virus, yes, but also about the Willis character's search for himself. He's every man in a world that toys with him. It's a good movie and a rich one, so rich I had to see it twice to feel I was really beginning to understand it.
Now, this is very interesting because you know what happened to me? What? I saw it twice. Just 2 nights ago, I liked it more, too, the second time around. I was pretty rough, maybe you were too, the first time around because of the thematic similarity that you described with Brazil, and I thought, oh, not this again, not the depressing future again. Why in futuristic movies is it always a depressing future? And so I just sort of shut down on the picture, and I shut down on the actors, and then the second time, I loved the ending the first time, I will admit that. This time I saw that the ending was justified. And the last scene, and the great line of dialogue in the last scene, is really earned very well. And it is, you called it poignant moments, that's true. We're ultimately touched by these people, our guides, and we want them and us to survive.
Okay, coming up next, Sandra Bullock and Denis Leary are inept art thieves in the romantic comedy 2 If by Sea.
At the train station, honey. Stolen car, train station, police.
Sandra Bullock is on the road with her boyfriend thief, played by Denis Leary in 2 If by Sea, a so-so romantic comedy that proves that too much of an actress doing the same thing, even someone as appealing as Sandra Bullock, can get a little tiresome. Bullock plays a working-class woman romantically involved with a petty crook who could use more than a little self-improvement.
I, Frank O'Brien,
Swear
swear
that I will get a job, pay taxes, and settle down like a normal human being.
What kind of job?
Denis Leary, however, has stolen a painting as the film opens, and as the cops chase him, he and Bullock exchange offbeat dialogue about appropriate costumes for Halloween.
So a guy dressed up like a bat, that's okay, right? But a guy dressed up like a cat is a fan?
Yeah, Batman's different. He's got the cape and the cowl.
And spends all his time with a teenage boy. Talk to the hand, all right?
Getting rid of the painting takes them to the unoccupied island home of a rich couple in New England where they have movie-cute fun together.
Where'd you learn how to fish?
ESPN, you know, they got a fishing show. It's like a wrist thing. Whip.
Here's what I felt throughout 2 If by Sea. I think Sandra Bullock should slow down the pace of her light romantic comedy movie making. With her talk show appearances and 3 movies in just 10 months, her delightful qualities, and she has a lot of them, are losing their freshness. Also, the premise of 2 If by Sea doesn't really have enough dramatic tension. We really aren't made to care what happens to the painting or, frankly, to her love affair. Not a bad film, just a trifle.
Oh, I think it's a bad film, and I think that one of the problems is they really fell in love with dialogue that nobody should have really fallen in love with. There was too much talk in this movie. It's not as interesting as it should be.
Like the costumes, the Hollywood. I mean, that's just, you know, that's just a writer.
You know those radio ads where the couple talks about in a cute way?
Well, they're selling us something else.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours of that kind of banter, and you want to say, oh, come on, just get off it.
Now, what do you think about what I said about Bullock?
Well, it's like a broken record. She needs to try something new, and I'm looking forward to seeing her next picture.
When we come back, a spoof of black inner-city movies called Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood.
Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, and as you can guess from the title, fairly easily, I'd say, it's a spoof of all those movies about boys in the hood. It's made by 2 members of the productive Wayans family, Sean and Marlon, who are the 9th and 10th children in a clan that seems to be producing more talent than the Barrymores. And if you're familiar with the movies it's satirizing, you will recognize Boys in the Hood, South Central, Poetic Justice, Menace to Society, and even some of those breakdancing movies. Here's a typical scene featuring Omar Epps, star of Juice and Higher Learning, in a parody of his movies.
You know, Malik is the first one in the hood to go to college. Yeah. Finally, someone from the hood is gonna make it.
It is hope.
Another easy target, police picking on young black males.
With the tip of your finger, touch the tip of your nose. Now, in a circular motion, rub your stomach and pat your head while saying rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Shawn Wayans falls for a neighborhood beauty played by Tracy Sherelle Jones, who seems to get pregnant on an accelerated schedule.
Now, children, what do you say when you meet a nice man?
Are you my daddy?
I had a lot of conflicting thoughts while I was watching this movie. First of all, I have to say there are some big laughs. There really are, and the audience seemed to enjoy it. After it was over, though, it left me feeling kind of sad and empty because the movies it satirizes were trying to say something serious, and this movie undermines and ridicules their message. Another thing, the satire isn't as finely tuned as it could be, and it doesn't find many worthy targets. A lot of it isn't satire at all, but simply the parading of negative black stereotypes, which if the movie had been made by whites, would be instantly categorized as racist. I'm trying to draw a line here, trying to get the joke and not be too serious, but boy, it's hard to do, and I can't recommend Don't Be a Menace.
Oh, I recommend it. I laughed throughout, and you know, if it had been made by whites, well, you know, if somebody had been made by, black movies had been made by, I mean, if you get into that kind of thinking, Roger, it's like you don't want to acknowledge that you had you did acknowledge you had a good time in laughing at the picture.
I had a good time at part of the picture. It wasn't that well made.
Oh, come on, Roger.
It didn't continue to build after
it is as well made as...
And here's another problem.
It's well made. Wait a second.
It's satirizing good movies.
That's right.
And the films like Airplane and Hot Shots are satirizing bad movies.
Okay, but are you saying, think about this, just as a high principle now we're discussing. Okay. Are you saying that there are subjects that are off limits for satire, high-minded pictures are off limits for satire?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Sure sounds like it.
No. What I'm saying is, this is not a high-minded picture.
No.
Oh, I see. No, sure, if they want to, I said in my review, the satire is not very sharp. Basically, a lot of the scenes are not really satirizing other movies, they're just making fun of black stereotypes. Such as the woman who has all of the kids and they don't know who their daddy is. Which of the movies, the good movies, is that one from?
It's a joke. It's a joke, and they're having fun with it, and people are recognizing it. You've got some guilt trip working on in your head.
No, I don't have guilt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because I think if you were a freer spirit, you'd say, this is funny.
Would you like to see a movie just like this about Jews?
If the picture were funny, I'd be laughing.
I don't think we'd see that movie being made.
Well, I don't know, Roger, but that's
I don't think so.
Is that the essence of your criticism of a comedy?
It's not. If it's not funny, then it is the essence.
But you said it was funny. You've got to rethink your thoughts on this.
No, I said there
picture.
were some things in it that gave me big laughs.
And those were okay. Coming up next, our video pick of the week, one of the best little-seen movies of 1995.
Ebert's Video Pick of the Week, brought to you by Orville Redenbacher's Gourmet Popping Corn, the best part of the movies.
My video pick of the week is a movie that will have you asking a lot of questions about its central figure. Is the woman really sick? Is the air around her really poisonous? Does she enter a cult? Or is she on the road to recovery? And why should we care? Those are just some of the questions raised in a provocative, disturbing, memorable film from last year called simply Safe, about a Los Angeles housewife who feels most unsafe at home and on her round of daily errands. She's played beautifully by Julianne Moore.
At the health club, I saw a flyer.
So, you think this is what's made you, I mean, why you've been sick? Because of bug spray?
As her condition worsens, she hears about a clinic in the desert that caters to people who can't handle their environment. Is this a con job?
We are one with the power that created us. We are safe, and all is well in our world.
Director Todd Haynes is a distinctive stylist, and Safe, I think, is one of the most quiet, truly creepy films I've seen in a long time. It's now available on home video. It's my video pick of the week. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on the show. A split decision on From Dusk Till Dawn. I thought the film really got tedious after a while in that vampire bar. Roger didn't like that part too, but on balance, he gives the film thumbs up. 2 thumbs down, way down for Eye for an Eye, the exploitive Death Wish clone with Sally Field. 2 thumbs up for Terry Gilliam's 12 Monkeys, a convoluted science fiction film that we both found had more heart the second time around. 2 thumbs down for Two If by Sea, with Sandra Bullock in a no-brainer comedy with Dennis Leary. And finally, we split on Don't Be a Menace. I thought it was a very funny parody of the Boys and the Men in the Hood pictures. Roger, however, felt the satire wasn't as good as it could have been.
So 12 Monkeys is the one we're recommending this week, and it's almost like if you're going to see it twice.
And I think that on Don't Be a Menace, my bottom line is blacks have a right to satirize themselves just like any other group.
Oh, I agree with that.
And I think they did it well this time. That's it for this week, and they're not really satirizing themselves, they're satirizing films about themselves.
That could lead to a long discussion.
I'm sure we'll have it. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including Bed of Roses, starring Kristen Slater and Mary Stuart Masterson as strangers who fall in love. And also, Screamers, starring Peter Weller in a weird war against machines on another planet. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.